Hello, the internet. Welcome to Loli Theory. And okay, I'm gonna stop the horrible Matt Pat impression because honestly, it's really bad. But yes, we're gonna be talking about lollies again. And yes, you also read the title right. Lollies have no definitive definition or meaning, at least according to the internet. Because with everything that we have seen in anime and the years of how things have gone, honestly, lolly means so many different things. To the point you can't necessarily just say, oh, well, this is a lolly, and that's not a lolly, and all this other stuff is related to lolly in some type of reason, in some type of way. There's just so many things that you can classify when it comes to lolly, and honestly, this is where the topic of lolly honestly starts to get very frustrating to figure out, because to be perfectly honest, there's a lot of things you can relate to when it comes to lollies and everything about it in general. It honestly gets really crazy. Recently, I have seen someone talking about Tatsumaki and basically saying that she is not a lolly, and basically this person was just starting drama just to start drama just because they were bored, I guess, which, you know, that's a mood. And to be perfectly honest, when it comes down to things, a lot of people came through and kind of were saying that, you know, Tatsumaki is not a lolly. Tatsumaki is a lolly. They treat her like a kid in the show. However, she is a full-blown adult and she knows it. Is Tatsumaki a lolly? Well, let's actually break it down first. We already know Miss Swiss Thighs for the Thick Thighs obviously is someone that we talk about on this channel a bit much, and we also be having a nice time enjoying those leg games that she got. And when it comes down to things, personally, I would classify Tatsumaki as a lolly, and it's because it comes down into these few factors. Number one, Tatsumaki does get treated like a kid in the show. Not only with the whole Saitama saying who's his lost child thing, but I'm pretty sure someone had called her maybe a brat in the show, which brat usually has some younger type of connotations and meanings when it comes to that. If you call someone a brat, they're obviously immature, or, you know, not being as mature as they should be when it comes down to things. Much less, yes, her height does play part of this, and much less her body with her being underdeveloped also plays a part of this as well. And really, if you really think about it, Tatsumaki's personality, especially in the anime at least, she is a bit childish with how she is. Honestly, she has a one sense of thinking that she's better than everybody, and much less when she does get drunk, she does act like a pretty much a small brat, or at some times, and does act like a child in a way. So 100% that kind of pushes her more into the lolly section, even though she is an adult. And it's confirmed that she's obviously an adult because she's 28 years old and much older than Fubuki, her younger sister. So if we're being perfectly honest here, even though yes, she is specifically classified as an adult and through an adult character, nonetheless, with all the other things, you know, with her, if you just take one good glance at her, and you might not know who Tatsumaki is, if you label her an adult or a lolly, most likely you will label her a lolly. And honestly, I think that's kind of what she is. There is many different classifications of lolly, you know. Legal lolly would be what Tatsumaki personally is, so that's that's kind of how it goes. But obviously, height is not also everything when it comes down to things. Let's take La Brava, for example, from MHA. Because when I first saw La Brava, I was just straight up ready to call her a lolly, 100%, not even gonna lie. However, a lot of people call her a short stack, and it's kind of easy to see why. Number one, she doesn't necessarily act overly too much like a child, honestly. She doesn't act that way. So that's also one thing that's helping her in her favor. Not to mention, the anime gave her a specific age, which is 20, and you know, that's a helpful boost in a way. Much less, she's in a relationship with Jinso, which also even more pushes her over the adult line, especially since that Bill 156 kind of came through. I highly doubt that they would actually, even in a fictional sense, air a relationship with an older guy and some basically younger lolly character. They just don't let that happen anymore nowadays. So, you know, that's just how it is. So 100% you can easily say that, yeah, La Brava is 100% a short stack, and it's understandable to think that. So even though she's short as all hell, pretty much on the lolly side of things, when it comes to how she kind of is, but 100% she is an adult and she is just a short stack, and that's just it. Not necessarily a lolly, nothing like that, but still, you know, a short stack, and that's just how she is. I feel like if an anime specifically says a character is short and they don't treat her like a child, that's the only way that they're not classified as a lolly. If it does nothing like that, then I would honestly quickly classify them as a lolly, mainly because they might act childish, or they might get called out to be a child, or they might actually become one. And again, the rules of lolly is just all over the doggone place, and it makes absolutely no sense with how it is. And to be perfectly honest, again, it really just kind of goes to do anything that it wants to do. And to give you a quick rundown of everything, I'm just going to list a bunch of characters that is a lolly in some shape and form, and even though you might not necessarily agree with it, it is in fact the case. And I'm just gonna use some of the definitions, many definitions I should say, of what lolly is, to kind of classify it and give reasoning of why they're lollies in my sort of way. So obviously Tatsumaki, we just covered, she is a lolly because of how she acts in her underdeveloped body, and pretty much how people kind of treats her around her. So that's one reason I would classify her to be a lolly, even though she is a full-blown adult. Midna is an imp character, however, because she seems a bit childish and, you know, have her childish kind of ways of acting in some shape and form, I would also classify her as a lolly, if I'm being honest with you. Even Kana, who is not a human, a whole full-blown dragon, and over the age of what a human can normally be. Honestly, she is a lolly, even though she is a dragon, and even though she is, you know, over the age of what a human can be, she does act like a child a lot of the time. So guess what? Lolly category. Becky from Spy Family, obvious lolly. There is no discussion, no debate, 100% a lolly that we will all try to clap. Let's be perfectly honest with each other. And when it comes to Ochako from MHA as well, lolly, yes, while she's more mature and more of an adult, and while people don't seem to understand this, 100% she still is a lolly. Technically, she's not a 18-year-old yet, so technically, in some shape and form, she is still a lolly character. And when it comes down to things, even if you wanted to add, let's say, Android 21, she's a lolly as well, mainly because of her age. While she looks absolutely nothing like a lolly and you would treat her like an adult because she's not even that old, granted, you know, she is an android or whatever, but still, nonetheless, you could classify her as a lolly. There is plenty of factors that you can use to classify different characters when it comes to lolly, and this is why I exactly say, or at least hopefully title the video in a way where it's like, basically lolly doesn't really have a real definition, because literally anything can fall under this category. There is plenty of characters that is lolly, there just is, and again, a lot of it is not be going away anytime soon, because that's just how it's gonna be. It really comes down to, you know, how the character is and how they act, and how different sorts of things measure up with with the character and how they are. A lot of people will probably say that, you know, lolly means an underdeveloped body, but still lolly can mean legit anything. It doesn't necessarily matter if it's an underdeveloped body or it's a human or whatever rule that you got. Essentially, lolly can mean literally, again, anything. So yes, that's what I kind of wanted to cover with this one, and kind of hopefully something that you guys can a bit understand of it, because again, it does get into some ridiculous territory. Again, this is getting really hard to figure out, much less this is kind of like a bit much, but definitely I feel like this is something we should still talk about nonetheless, mainly because it does get into ridiculous territory, and but it is a bit interesting how it is. That's pretty much all I have for this one, so hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on your way out. Also follow me on Twitter, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Patreon is available as well. And until then, this is your boy Jay, signing off. Have a blessed day.